My friend's dad just woke up from a coma, thinking it's 2010, but has new haunting memories of a life that never existed. My best friend Lucy's father had a severe brain aneurysm just before Christmas this past year. He ended up in a coma and just woke up about 13 days ago. Lucy and her family were so excited that he woke up, fairly healthy and chipper, considering the circumstances. However, they quickly discovered that he thinks it's 2010. Lucy and I are both 23. In 2010, we were 13. Lucy was a dancer as a kid. She stopped dancing when we finished high school, and one of her dad's first questions was, "What happened? We were just at Lucy's recital." Everyone assumed that he was delirious at first, but it became obvious fast that he doesn't remember anything from the last decade. Lucy has an older brother who, within the last 10 years, has gotten married and had a child of his own. Their dad does not recognize her brother's wife, as he had not met prior to 2010, and had no idea that he was a grandpa. It was heartbreaking listening to her tell me this. Lucy and her brother are 6 years apart. In between those 6 years, before Lucy was born, their parents had a baby that lived for only 5 weeks in the NICU. The craziest part about this whole thing is that her dad doesn't know they lost the baby, and he has memories of his dead child's whole life. He asked where Duncan was, and they sadly had to tell him, "Dad, remember Duncan died when he was a baby." Lucy's dad was completely dumbfounded. He has protested that Duncan played hockey, loved dinosaurs, was doing co-op for the military, and he wanted to be a firefighter when he finished high school. None of these memories lined up with Lucy's older, living brother, so they ruled out the possibility he was mixing up the two sons. He remembers raising Duncan from birth to a 17-year-old boy, which is how old Duncan would have been in 2010 if he didn't die in infancy. He knew Duncan's actual birthday, and told everyone that he went with Duncan to buy his first used car that day. He has fabricated memories of his dead son during a time that he remembers everything else perfectly. All his other memories from 1961 when he was born to 2010 are crystal clear and accurate, but this detail of remembering a whole life that never had the chance to exist is freaking everyone out. He is literally grieving a son right now that he had already grieved 27 years ago when he actually died. He's devastated. We're wondering if this is some sort of supernatural thing. As in, did baby Duncan give his dad memories during a time when his brain was not in the current world? Has anyone else ever heard of anything like this? My brother wasn't really home. So this story happened a couple years back. It was the 4th of July, and my family decided to go out and see the local fireworks show. I didn't want to go out even though my mom was unhappy with my decision, so I stayed home with my grandma. I knew that they had left because I heard the door close, so that meant my mom, my older brother, my younger brother, and my baby brother had gone to the show. Everything was normal, and we had found a movie to watch upstairs while they were gone. It was The Birds. After a while, I had went back downstairs to get some chips. Now we have a closet that is under the stairs in our house. It's kinda like the one from Harry Potter. What is weird about that though is when I went to walk in the kitchen, my younger brother was by the closet with the door open. I wanted to ask him something as I walked by, but I had this weird urge not to. We kept eye contact the whole time as I was walking by. It was very weird to say the least. He didn't really have any expression on his face, it was just a blank stare. I didn't really think anything of it at the time, so I got my chips and went upstairs. When I went upstairs, I had asked my grandma if she knew that my younger brother was still home. She said that she thought he left with my mom, so I had my grandma call mom to see if he was really with them. She wasn't very happy, and said that it was a stupid question, and of course he was with her. My heart dropped. I know I saw him here, and he looked exactly like my brother. So I went back downstairs and sure enough, nobody was there. After that, we checked all the rooms in the house, including the closets, to make sure he really wasn't here. We saw nobody, and we didn't hear the door open indicating someone had left or come in. When they came back, we told them how it happened, but nobody believed me except my grandma. Everyone thought I was crazy, or had thought I saw him, but we made eye contact for several seconds as I was walking by. There was no doubt in my mind that it was my brother. If anyone could explain what might have happened, it would greatly be appreciated. Maybe I was just seeing things, but if that is the case, it was one of the most realistic illusions I've ever seen. I died in an alternate universe? This happened back in December, but I can't seem to shake it. This may not be appropriate for this sub, but here it goes. I was driving to my office and we stopped in a left-hand turn lane. A car came up behind me, and I was suddenly overcome with this intense fear that they were going to hit me. It was cold fear, unlike anything I've ever experienced before. The car behind me came to a gentle stop a couple yards behind me as I watched in the rearview mirror. Suddenly, I felt an intense jolt through my body, so much so that I felt the car move when I did. I checked to see if the car was still in the same spot. The light turned green, and just before I took my foot off the brake, I felt an excruciating pain in my neck and head that made me feel sick and dizzy. There was an overwhelming smell and taste of gasoline. I tried to get my bearings, and the car behind me lightly honked for me to move. Still in pain and with the taste and smell of gasoline, I rolled down my window as I slowly moved through the intersection. I gave an apologetic wave to the driver behind me, who returned the gesture, and I immediately turned into my office parking lot. I sat there trembling, trying to shake what happened. The smell and taste finally dissipated, the pain slowly easing from my neck and head. But I was still shaken up. I was weepy all day. I felt very strange in my body. Kept imagining my family receiving news of me being in a fatal car accident, and I was pretty afraid to get back in my car at the end of the workday. While talking with my fiancé about what happened, I tried to find a reasonable explanation. I am a mental health professional. That involved a stress-induced trauma response from a bad accident a while back, or a simple panic attack. He said, "Could be. Or maybe you died in a car accident in an alternate parallel universe, and you felt it." I laughed it off, but I have not forgotten the statement, just thought I would share. Well, this is one of those fascinating stories that parallels one of my favorite hypotheses in physics. It's called quantum immortality. The notion that if you ever die in one reality, the consciousness that you're aware of lives on in other realities, so the you seeing through your eyes now never perishes, unless it's a death event that happens to 100% of the yous in all parallel universes. I quite hope that's true. An additional way to deny death its reward.